let's just start with who you are. Tell me a little bit more about, your background, why you started what you started, how you started it.
Okay.
And let's learn a little bit more about what inspired you.
Okay, so first off, wait, do I say my name?
Yeah. Go ahead. So
Alright, so first off, my name is Briana. I'm 24 years old. I was born and raised here in Miami. My family is Cuban roots. So just saying that alone, I feel like having that Latin background, I have that, hustler mentality, like very like la chipa, La chipa.
I learned a new word today.
Yeah. So I've always loved to start off, before getting into like my business, my side of like content creation. Honestly, like since high school, I've always loved the cameras, like either using the camera or being in the picture,
So you started as an influencer, almost, or like a UGC creator?
No, I think I started more of like, I liked the modeling route. So like since I was in high school, I would like to like collaborate with different photographers, like modeling with clothes. I would even like get my friends like, hey, let's pack a suitcase with some cute clothes and let's like, walk around Miami, try to find like a cute spot. And that's when I didn't have my camera, so I would just use my phone.
Yeah.
So I always loved taking like cute pictures and just for the content, until then I started realizing that, okay, like I shouldn't do this. I do it for fun, but also like I can make a business out of this,
100%.
like I can collaborate with brands.
Yes.
I can, so I started reaching out to brands. And honestly, I'm going to be very transparent. So obviously in social media, there's a lot of competition.
Yeah.
And I felt I would go through like little, phases. I'm like, oh, this is not for me. Like,
I want to do it.
Like I would be like very disappointed. And, I wouldn't see like engagement. I wasn't consistent. Like I would, go a week without posting, and then I would start posting again, and then I was just like I lost that like inspiration. Like I went through paths where I'm like, you know what, like I'm not gonna be an influencer, like this is not for me. Like I lost hope, until I don't know, I just honestly, when I first walked in, like it's what I was telling you, is consistency is everything. That's something that I've learned a lot, that like, your goals aren't going to be accomplished. Like your accomplished goals isn't going to knock on your door. Like you have to put in the work.
It's not going to come for you. You got to go for it.
You got to go for it, So so basically, I was very inconsistent at first. I didn't know how to like reach out to brands or anything like that until then. I would say this year and last year was when I really started taking content creation seriously, and I started being more consistent. I did my research, because back then I wasn't really like, I would just casually write an email. I wasn't doing like the
proper diligence,
the proper, research that I needed to do. So I did my research. I even going to different events. I also learned that networking is everything. And you can meet someone that will teach you the ways, or I like learning from people that inspire me. So last year and this year I started taking content creation seriously. I was more consistent, going to events, learning more, and I started seeing progress on my page. I even this is gonna sound funny, so me and my boyfriend, he really supports me on all my content creation.
Sometimes we need that in our
yes. No, I will say it's so important having a partner that supports you and understands, because I'm not gonna lie, like I've had past relationships where let's say we're traveling, or let's say we're out somewhere, and if I take out my phone or start taking pictures, they're like, oh my god, here we go again with pictures.
And it makes it so much harder to do what you need to do.
Exactly. I'm like, you don't see the concept, you don't have the vision. So also my boyfriend, he's in the music industry world, so he understands the power of social media. He understands the content creation, so he has also played a really big role in my whole I would say influencer and content creation path. Because he's very patient, he's been taking on my content. Very supportive. And then also, I feel being consistent and then also having a supportive person also like the quality is everything, you know, of your content.
No, this is good. So it's really important actually to circle back to like what you were doing when you were in high school, which is like creating content with your friends and doing like shoots. Like I think a lot of younger people aspire to be a creator, aspire to do this full time, and they just don't know like what's the right or wrong thing to do. And I think you kind of said, hey, just go do content, like make it fun, engage, like, you know, like create a community where it supports it. And that's super important, I'm sure, for more people to start doing.
Yeah, no, and I also, so something I really learned this year is when I went through the path of, you know, not only content creation, but I started, I've always been into wellness. You know, in high school I was a cheerleader. I've always been into like taking care of my body. Like I like working out, you know, I love all that. And so I feel like that really molded me into like being, like taking care of my body. And then I started seeing, I was talking to someone the other day because they were asking me like, you know, how did you, like someone just doesn't wake up and say like, okay, I love wellness, like, you know. So I, from, you know, just like, I loved going to the gym, I loved all of that, but I wanted something more. And my first years of college, I wasn't, you know, I didn't really have that much friends. I would see like cool events on Instagram or TikTok, and I'm like, damn, like I don't want to go alone, you know. So until one day, like I went with one of my childhood friends, and I loved it. But sometimes, like, you know, my two friends like aren't available, so I'm like, I have to, you know what, like that's it, like I have to push myself and go, like go to these events alone. So I started going to these events alone, and of course, like I started taking content here and there about these events. I loved it. But then that's where, when I fell in love with like the whole wellness world, like, you know, going to these events, like really stepping out of your comfort zone, that's what really made me realize like it's cool to post cute pictures here and there, you know, but I didn't really see like the whole modeling route going good for me. So that's when I started like, okay, if I love fitness, if I love wellness, if I feel like this is like my calling, like why not take content? Like why not take content in that world, you know, like it's something that I love, it's something that I do every day. So like why am I trying to like do something where it's like it's not me, you know? You know, like don't get me wrong, I love modeling, but it was like, I don't know, like you know,
you feel more comfortable in the
I felt more comfortable. And you know how like a couple years ago, like I don't know if you can like put this like, you know, like back then, like you're not gonna get followers if you're not showing your ass on Instagram, you know, and that wasn't for me, you know, and I feel like my family, it's very true. And don't get me wrong, I respect like, because
and
I respect, you know, all the girls that are posting like that, just because like if you have a body, or you know, do it, girl, like I'll like your pictures, and I'm like, you know, you go, girl. But it just like it wasn't working for me. So then I started taking content creation of, you know, like the wellness route, still doing fashion, still, you know, like modeling like clothes and things like that. But I just felt like if being in the wellness world really made me realize, like, you know, quality over quantity, you know, like it's about, I'd rather post something that people are gonna want to watch and like want to learn, because I do the same thing. Like if I'm the people that I follow on Instagram, the posts that I like, I'm following them for a reason. Like I'm it's valuable content. Exactly, you hit it on the money. So I think that's where like the route that I took, and I really liked just posting like quality content and something that people are gonna look at my page and like, wow, like let me save this, I like that workout, or or really like motivating, you know. Sometimes I feel like a lot of people here in Miami, they live such a fast-paced world. And also Miami is known for the partying and the drinking and all of that. So don't get me wrong, I'm not against that, but I feel like there's a balance, you know. So I love, like, if people were to look at my page and say like, oh damn, like I love partying and all that, but it's really important to take care of your body. It's really important to take care of yourself.
I think social awareness around, I mean, I came to Miami, I think 8 years ago, and it was like a completely different environment where it is today. I feel like
like
wellness is such a culture here that almost like partying's like not as common. You don't really want to do it as much as back then. Now it's like,
if you tell, so I don't know if you've seen on social media that right now like sober parties are like really popping up, you know?
Coffee parties?
Coffee parties,
Yeah,
yes.
like,
I didn't know you were gonna like know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like all these like, they turn into like a coffee party. I'm like, if you would have told like people, if you were to go in like a Miami crowd like a couple years ago, they would be like, no, like coffee party, that's whack, or you know. And it's crazy how like it's really popping up, and I love to see that because don't get me wrong, I'm young, I love partying, having a good time,
socializing.
but exactly, but it's also a balance, and I feel like people get really wrapped up into bad habits that, you know, I saw a video the other day on social media that it was actually one of my friend's boyfriends. He was running. He does like a lot of running not podcasts. Like he does a lot of running content. Yeah. And he was like, you know how a lot of people that have kids, they say like, oh, like I'll die for my kids, like I'll do anything for my kids.
Yeah.
But he said something that like really like stuck in my head is like, would you live for them? You know?
Ah, that's so fascinating.
That's fascinating, right? Like, you know, that the common saying is like, oh, like I'll do anything for my kids, like I'll die for my kids, but I'm like, would you live for them? And that's true. You know, there's a lot of like obesity or, you know, bad habits here in Miami or even different parts of the world where a lot of people don't take care of their bodies.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, you want to live for your kids, you want to be healthy. So that really like stuck with me. And look, that was just from scrolling on Reels. Like I was just on my bed scrolling on Reels, and that's the type of content that like really captures me. That's
and you
like
remember it to the point you're like, that's so valuable to you.
Yeah, like I saw that, I was like, wow, like I've never thought of that. You know, like I don't know.
Speaking of running, I mean these running clubs that have popped up, right?
Yeah.
Miami's becoming a spot for like creating culture of running clubs. I'm seeing it now over there. I'm like, oh, I think this started here. I think.
Yeah. I don't know if it started here, but I do see it
big here.
Like
That's for sure.
big. It's very big, and it's amazing to see because not too long ago I went to a small like wellness event in what's it called? Not Miami Beach, South Point area.
Yeah, beautiful spot.
And there was like, I think 3 run clubs. And I was like, dude, what is this? Like, because at first I saw like a group, I was like, okay, they're just like probably like, you know, a group of friends running. Yeah. But then I saw like another one, they were all wearing the same shirts. I was like, dude, this is awesome.
That's in one area of Miami.
Yeah, like that's one area of Miami. And I love seeing that because, again, coming from like high school, I had like a lot of like drama and like friend drama and all that, and then, you know, once I graduated high school, my first years of college, I didn't have that much friends, and I felt that like a little loneliness, you know. I felt like I want to make new friends, but this is something I always say in my business in Revive Social, and I'll get into that, you know, about Revive Social in a bit, but it's not as easy to make friends as before. You know, like as a kid, you get into like your classroom and it's like, oh, what are you coloring? Like, you know, it was like in a playground, like, oh, you know, you just go up to random kids. Like it was so easy to make friends when you were little. And then as an adult, I feel like it's more intimidating. It's like you don't know how to approach that person. It's hard to make friends. So seeing all these run clubs and seeing all these like communities coming together, it's amazing because there's a lot of people that deal with anxiety or depression or
don't have the network of friends and
exactly like are having a hard time like they're having a rough path in their life. So I feel like it's amazing that right now the Miami community is really coming together, and I think that's amazing.
Yeah, you go to any of these run clubs or even social wellness clubs, and it's just so easy to say hi to someone and strike up a conversation where you become really good friends with them. It's like, that's awesome.
It's awesome. And then and then also that's where the networking comes. And then Miami's so small, I'm sure you've come across this where you're talking to someone, then someone else comes, and then coincidentally, let's say that person knows your cousin. You know, like Miami's so small.
It's crazy because it feels big because there's so much to do and all the things and all these areas, but it's like you hear, oh yeah, I know him from this area. Oh yeah, I know them from that. It's like it's kind of a small city. It's a big city.
No, and the other day, I was with my brother and his girlfriend, at some event. It wasn't a wellness event, it was more like a network event.
Yeah.
And then I swear to you, he like met like, he saw like two people there, and it was coincidentally they went to high school together. Yeah. And I was just like, that's crazy, like, you know, we're
small world.
Such a small world, you know. And then
so speaking of social events, I mean, you have a social event yourself, which, you know, I haven't had the privilege to go to, but hopefully we'll go soon.
No, I would love to have you.
About it. Tell us, like,
yes.
what inspired it? How has it gone for you? What are the difficulty of growing or keeping it? You know, because there's a lot of work, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And what are some of the amazing wins or something you've had with it?
Yeah. So to start off, my social club is called Revive Social, and it says it in the name. You know, we really wanted to revive that social scene here in Miami. And honestly, what started it is my love for wellness. You know, I would start to go to all these wellness events, sometimes alone, sometimes not. And I really fell in love with, like, it's not only like, you know, just going to a workout class. It was more like socializing with people that have your same interests, that align with your vision, that align with your, you know, your morals. And exactly. And I just left those wellness events like feeling amazing, like wow, like
what epic time.
Yeah, like I loved it. Like it was really like my vibe. Like I loved it. And so then I started taking my sister-in-law, my brother's girlfriend. And she always like, she loves wellness. She's a yogi. Like she loves all of that. Awesome. Yeah, she loves all that. And so I started telling her, I was like, oh my gosh, like you need to come with me to these events. I hate going alone. Like come with me. I feel like you will love it. Like we'll have a great time. She started coming with me to these events. I sold her on it. She's like, what's the next one?
She's like, let's go to the one.
What's the next one? Then it started like, she'll even screenshot me. Like, oh, are we going? Like, let's go to this one. You know, so I loved that. And so we had a great time. She fell in love with it just as much as I did. And then we started like, so the same thing that was happening to me was happening to her. Like a lot of my, you know, not friends, but like people that follow me on social media would always asking me, like, where are you finding these events? Like, oh, like, you know, how is it? Like, is this just like invite only or whatnot? And her friends started asking her. Yeah. And so she started, she one day posted a TikTok and it went viral. And in that TikTok, she was like, okay, you know, I like these, she put like little video clips of like all the wellness events that we've gone together. And she's like, if you're not, like, if you want to go to these wellness events, like, you know, let's create a group chat and come with me to the wellness events. That's you know, awesome. like let's create a group chat. Let's all go together. You know, because a lot of people deal with the same thing as us. Is like, oh, like I see all these events, but I don't want to go alone, or you know, and sometimes like guys don't want to go to that. Like, oh, like because in the beginning my boyfriend was like, what is that? Like, I don't want to go. Until now it's like really popping and girls drag their boyfriends to these wellness events. But so basically that video went viral. We created a group chat.
That's so cool.
It was awesome. At first we're like, oh, no one's gonna join this group chat, or like, you know, it did. Like we created it on WhatsApp, and so we posted the link like with the video. And from not one day to the next, but maybe like around 2 weeks, like 10 people, 20 people, 30 people started joining the chat. And so we all started going, like we would text like, okay, like this event is this day, like let's all plan and let's go to these wellness events together. And that's what we started doing. We started meeting up as a group, going to different wellness events together. And we really pushed that, like, oh, like, don't be afraid, like, let's all meet up on this same spot, like, oh, I'm here by this area, like, you know, let's all meet up.
Very organic.
Yeah, super organic. So we all started meeting up, and then after, we had around, like, 100 people in the chat. Then me and her started talking, I'm like, okay, we have no idea how to create these wellness events. To give you a little like backstory, I've always been like a bubbly personality, but if you tell me to like speak in front of a crowd, or even right now like a podcast, back then, like if you tell me like a couple years ago, I'm like a little penosa, you know, like you have to like break me, you know, like I have a bubbly personality, if that makes sense, but I'm also pena, like me da pena, like I'm a little shy. So, you know, I'm like, so me and her would talk like, why don't we host our own wellness events?
That's so cool.
It was a little like, you know, iffy, because I was like, I started thinking, I'm like,
logistics so hard.
Yeah, like, do I want to host wellness events? Because I love going to wellness events, but hosting is completely different. And until one day we just did it, you know. Awesome. And I think that's the best advice I can give anyone is like, if you want to apply to that job, if you want to start that hobby, if you want to anything that like you feel that has been like calling to you, just do it. You know, and that's what we did. We literally created the Instagram, we created the name, Revive Social, and we're like, okay, like we're doing it. Like, this is real.
Cool.
And also, like, everything is trial and error. So something I've learned in this like journey is like, you're never gonna be perfect at something if you don't try.
Yeah, or do it a lot of times, right?
Exactly.
you have to get better,
like, and don't get me wrong, like, I can sit here for hours and say like all the stuff that has happened to us, just like trial and error. You know, like we didn't know how to write like professional email. Like, how do I brand myself? How do I like, you know, pitch yourself to these big brands? You know, they're gonna be like, you don't have like no resume, so like how are they gonna say yes to us like sponsoring our event or things like that? So it was just a lot of trial and error. And in the beginning, we did have to like buy stuff to put into the goodie bags. Like we spent an investment. You know, we spent a lot of money trying to create this brand. But it was a lot of trial and error until there was even nights where like so let's say we had to be at the venue by 6 a.m. We were like literally the night before still running around, like prepping everything at like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. And we're like, we have like almost only 2 to 3 hours of sleep. We have to wake up at 5 and then be at the venue at 6. No, like I can sit here and
sacrifice.
Sacrifice. But if it's something that you want, I think like, in that moment, like it's sacrifice, but you're gonna, like, I didn't mind. Like, I was like, okay, I'm excited. Like, it's 6 a.m. I'm freaking dead tired, but like, I'm excited to like, you know, create this event, like see the community. Don't get me wrong. In the beginning, going back to what I said of like being shy and all that, my first, I would say, 5 events, I was so nervous to talk in front of the crowd. Like the host. I'm telling you, like I would, and I think that's like the first 2 nights I would stay up like talking to my mom or talking to my family, like practicing, like, okay, like, hi guys, my name is Briana and this is Revive. Awesome. Like, like I was really nervous. I'm like, oh my god, like, I don't know.
Presentation at school, right?
Then my uncle, I remember, told me once, like, why don't you just put glasses on and just like, you know, but I'm like, I cannot put sunglasses while I'm hosting. Like, I cannot, no.
Super cool.
Hi guys. No, until again, being, you know, doing the experience, like trial and error. You know, that's like doing it over and over, I lost that fear. And now, don't get me wrong, if it's like a huge event, I'll feel the little butterflies, but I've also realized that you can't live life like caring on what people think about you.
It's gonna hold you back.
You know, it's gonna hold you back, and you have to really like just let loose and like, you know what? This is my personality, and if I stutter, I stutter. Who cares?
Own it,
You know, like, and if people are gonna laugh, you know what? I tried. And I know that I did it, and I know that
you'll sleep better at night knowing you put your best out
exactly there. You know, and don't get me wrong, I had my little moments where I would overthink, like, oh, did I talk bad, or did I do good, or this or that, but it's really grown me as a person. Like, I've lost that fear, you know, I've lost that, I'm more comfortable with communication, with more, you know, I feel more like confident.
You've grown yourself as a leader, right?
Exactly.
So you're like,
Exactly.
I mean, you're still young, but you're already a leader of an organization, which is kind of cool, right?
I feel like we're always learning, you know. I feel like and especially like, you know, now in my 20s, like I feel like it's meant for that. For my 20s is like for growth, you know, learning about myself, you know, conquering my fears, doing stuff that like it's out of my comfort zone. And that's also something that I always, me and my business partner Tiffany, that's something that we always really push with Revive Social, is like step out of your comfort zone. Awesome. You know, if you're scared to come to our events alone, like do it. There's nothing to like, so you're just gonna live the rest of your life like you know, enjoying the events through your phone? Like, no, like push yourself. Like, what's the worst that's gonna happen?
Exactly.
You know, you're gonna end up talking to people. so something that we do in our wellness events, we do ice plunging a lot.
Nice.
And of course, that's hard. I'm not gonna sit here and say like ice plunging. That's easy.
Cake, yeah.
Piece of cake. No, it's hard.
Yeah.
But it's always like mind over matter.
Yeah.
So that's also another thing we push is like if you've never ice plunged, if this is gonna be your first time doing yoga, if you've never done Pilates or a Zumba class or whatever the case may be, even like B12 shots or any services that we're providing in our experience, in the wellness experience, like if this is your first time or if you're like scared, like do it, like say yes. If you feel called to do it, do it.
Yeah.
If you've never ice plunged before, you can't do 5 minutes, try to at least do 1 minute. If you can't do 1 minute, do at least 30 seconds.
As long as you try.
As long as you try. And we really push that in our wellness events to really push yourself, really step out of your comfort zone, do things that make you uncomfortable. I think my first time learning, like pushing myself to do something uncomfortable is, I'll never forget, I would say like 4 years ago, I would go to LA, like LA Fitness.
Yeah.
That was like my gym. But I wanted something like more, like I really liked like group classes and things like that. So I started this gym called Legendary. But I remember I was like asking my friends, like, oh, okay, like you should join this gym with me. I was like that same phase that I was going through. Like I didn't like doing things alone. So until I was like, no one wanted to join the gym with me. This was a brand new gym. I didn't know anyone, and I really pushed myself. Like the first week I was like a little, like everyone's nervous, always nervous. Like when you're starting a new job, starting a new gym or whatever
you're like,
like you feel a little like So and then I've been already going to this gym already for like a while, like 4 years, and so I met a lot of people in that gym. Exactly. So I've always. Like I always look back at that and I'm like, I was really uncomfortable in the beginning, like driving to the gym and like, oh, like like a little like, I've always been like that. Like I like doing stuff with people, but that's what I love, and that's where I love like telling my story. That it's like if I would have never like stepped out of my comfort zone, I wouldn't have never grown as a person. And as a person, you have to be very like independent. You can't be depending on people to do things that you like, or you can't.
You never do anything.
Exactly. Like you have to just.
Go for it. Be
comfortable with your own space, be comfortable with yourself.
I think that creators in general usually want to do these things, but then they hold themselves back.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of relates into their careers as a creator. A lot of creators wish they could be creators full time, but maybe they don't go all in on that creator journey, right? Like, and so can you speak to those creators and say like, what does it look like if you do go all in versus you don't go all in on content, let's call it?
I love seeing those videos that people say like one day, of course, well, obviously when you're ready, but people like quit their 9 to 5s and they just, it's like a risk. They start their content creation journey. They start their whatever like business or hobby that they want to like pursue and accomplish. And I love seeing that because that's a big step, and
it motivates others to be like, oh, I could probably do it too.
I can do it. Like I can, if I really, again, if you do the action, like you
put in the work.
Poner tu parte, like if you really like, my mom always says like, ponte las pilas.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Exactly. When you ponte las pilas, like ahí,
things will happen.
Yeah, things will happen. And so I really admire people that do that. I'm actually not a full-time content creator. I'm actually a behavior therapist as well. Super like I do a little bit of everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I can be a full-time content creator, but I also like what I do. It's not.
And that's okay. I think that being a content creator is a great avenue to either be if it's something you want to pursue as a part-time thing or full-time. It's like it's an option. In today's economy, we can do both.
Yeah.
If you choose, right? So. You're a good example if you do both and you're happy and you love it.
Yeah, exactly.
The balance of like, deciding to do it full time.
Exactly. Like it's hard, it's very like time consuming, but I just also think like step by step, being a behavior therapist, I had 2 clients. So I basically work with kids with on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And and I always love working with kids, and you know that job is very rewarding. Also, it's fun. You know, you have to have a lot of patience. But I've also done like step by step. So I used to have 2 clients. Now I bumped down to 1 client, and I'm doing content creation and then my Revive Social.
It's an evolution, right? It's like a step by step process.
Exactly.
You're so young too. You're like.
Exactly. So like that's what. So the people that like their dream is to like leave their 9 to 5, like I feel like if that's your dream to be like, let's say you want to be a full-time influencer, a full-time content creator, do it step by step. You know, don't like go crazy. Yeah, don't go crazy. Like don't get like not desesperado. Like desperate. Nervous. You know, to like want to just drop your 9 to 5. Like okay, like maybe you can. Maybe like mold your schedule. Like if you can talk to your job, like if you have that availability to like do less hours and then do your side hustle, you know, that would be great. But I just feel like also, you know, step by step is the way to go.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people when they see social media videos are like, I am now a full-time content creator. It's like it didn't just happen like that. It might have happened over 5 years, 10 years, and so
I love seeing like authentic stories where it's like. They show, you know, they were staying up till 5 a.m. doing whatever they needed to do, because nothing in this life is easy. You know,
100%.
like if you see exactly, like if you see any, big brand, like big successful businesses, like, and if you ask them their story, they didn't just wake up and
money, success, it's
money
like
knocked on their door. Like it's definitely not that. Everyone has their story. And I just also feel like there's people that are comfortable with what they're earning, or they're what's that word?
Replaceable or irreplaceable?
No, replacing.
Okay, complacent.
Like complacent. Like, you know, they're comfortable with what they have. And that's nothing wrong. Like I respect everyone's mindset, choices, you know.
Lifestyle choices, because really, you know, you could be like a overachiever and work 20 hours a day, or you could just.
But if you're comfortable, I also think happiness is everything. Super important. Like if you're happy with your lifestyle, with the way that you're living, then that's all that matters.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. People should.
You live one life, and if you do what makes you happy,
100%.
You know, and that's also something I really learned along the years, that if that friendship isn't making you happy, if that relationship isn't making you happy, if that business isn't making you happy, you have to make a change.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like then change it. Yeah. So that's where I was going with it, is that like if you're fine with your regular lifestyle, then that's fine. You know, it's your happiness. But also I feel like if you have this lifestyle, but you're not happy with it, and you have certain goals, you have to do something to be able to accomplish those goals, sacrifice, you know, really, like, you know.
Let's be less.
Yeah, you have to really like go for your dreams. You have to really, like go for it and push yourself, sacrifice, and do something about it. You know, if you're unhappy with that job, like change it, or do your research, you know, find something else, talk to people, go to networking events. There's always a solution to every problem.
This is interesting because I follow individuals like you, and I see your guys' journey and as a creator, and I love, because I know what that process is like. It's going through the journey, sacrificing, doing the hard work, and I'm like, I want to highlight your story so other creators and other people that want to be creators can hear. It's not rainbows and sunshine. It's a lot of work. It's going to be trial and error, and you're going to be happy after that, or even during it. Sometimes people enjoy the process, right? Enjoying
the process is also very important. And it also feels good. Like, for an example, editing on CapCut. You know, like I feel like I used to suck. But then also seeing other people getting inspiration and just honestly playing with the app. You know, I've learned. And sometimes like I look at like a video that I edited, I'm like, oh my god, I did that. Like damn, I did that. And I'll show like my boyfriend. I'm like, and I'll rewatch it, and like that's a good feeling. You know, when you feel that progress, when you feel that growth, and it's like, you know, like you have to do it. Like if I don't play with the app, if I don't see other people's thing, like I'm never gonna learn. You know, like I'm actually doing my Pilates instructing license in May.
It's exciting.
And so that's also another thing. Like I've always loved Pilates, but I'm not perfect at it,
Yeah.
and so that's why I'm doing a training.
That's super
You know,
cool.
so that's also
You're like,
yeah,
just try to be a
exactly.
teacher now.
You know,
awesome.
like because so the reason why I'm getting my Pilates license is my business partner. She's a yoga instructor, and so she's always loved yoga. I've always liked Pilates.
Yeah.
I love yoga, but I'm like a Pilates princess girl.
I gotta try it. Never tried, so I don't know what it's like. One of these days I'll give it a try.
Yeah, like I love Pilates. So I'm like, it's only right if I have a wellness event company to have a license, you know.
That's awesome. It complements what you guys are doing so
Exactly.
much easier.
No, 100%. I feel like it's something needed, and it's something that I love, you know.
Yeah.
So why not? But where I was getting with that is, you know, if let's say like, look, you do podcasts, like you edit these videos or taking the videos or whatnot, but if you're not perfect at it, like do a training or
get better at it.
And sometimes like a lot of people aren't financially stable to like pay for a training, but honestly YouTube and TikTok show you so much.
It's like the new university.
It's like I swear to you, like it's crazy.
Where'd
like
you learn that, YouTube?
yeah, like TikTok is my new YouTube. Like I don't know how to cook. Cooking classes are expensive as heck.
TikTok's the best.
I go on TikTok and I'm like, okay, easy recipes or
Every
like
time my wife gets a TikTok recipe, and I'm just like, it's gonna be a good
oh,
night.
it's gonna be good. Yeah, like no, it's so yeah. No, where I was going with that is like if you want to learn or perfect like any skill, like do your research.
Yes,
you know,
it's out
like
there.
get your training, meet the right people. And I feel like anything you really set your mind to, I feel like you can definitely accomplish.
100%. It's a lot of motivation, and I like this because it's really raw, and you're sharing your journey and your story. And so I want to thank you for that. You know, I look forward to seeing you grow because I think, you know, you're still at the starting point of your career, whatever Revive will go and wherever you will go. So, you know, we're excited to get to talk to you right now, and maybe we'll circle back in 2 to 3, 4, or 5 years and see like how far you've accomplished.
Oh my god, that's so exciting.
You know, it's exciting. We're excited for you because it's like, you know, we know it's someone like you that's built already like an organization. You have community and the social that you've put out. It's all amazing. So it's only gonna get better.
Yeah, no, I just sitting here like and like hearing me talk about all of this, it's like I've been getting into journaling a lot.
That's awesome.
Recently, like I've incorporated it into my morning routine, and sometimes like I'm journaling and I'm like, wow, like if someone would have, like I wish I would have told my younger self, like you know,
keep on going.
Keep on going. Like don't let others intimidate you. Stop caring about what people think. Like I wish I could hug her and be like, girl, like you got this. You know.
Awesome.
So I'm really proud of like all the growth that I'm you know, like I'm on, you know, like I'm really happy on like this journey that I'm on. And I really, like my mission is to also tell others that like, don't be scared, you know, do it, like step out of your comfort zone and just like go after like what you like,
take the risk.
You know, take the risk. And so,
especially in your 20s, life is too short to not take that risk.
Yeah.
And then you get older and you're like, I wish I took that risk.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But yeah, no, thank you so much for having me today. And it's exciting to really, you know, talk about it.
Yeah, no, it's,
you know, talk about it. Like yeah, I love talking about it, and I love getting to share like my experience with others. And it's also like a very full circle moment, you know, awesome. Like sitting here and just realizing like
all the
everything,
awesome things that
you know, like because sometimes I feel like individuals we're really hard on ourselves, and we don't really like take a moment to really reflect and think like, okay, this is everything I've accomplished. So like sometimes you need to give yourself your own flowers. You know?
100%, because it's only going to fuel more growth. So
exactly.
Well, look what I've done in just like 1 or 2 years.
Exactly.
Like you're doing like 4 or 5. Or
exactly. So I also feel like that's something that people need to take into consideration.
Yeah.
That don't be so hard on yourself either. You know,
100%.
Everything is always a process, and there's gonna be times where you're gonna feel like lost, don't know what to do. But everything comes like little by little.
Yeah.
You know.
So, you know, from your shoots with your friends in high school to now an organization of influence and wellness, it's such a beautiful thing to see, and so we'll see where Briana goes from here to the future.
And April 27th, I want to see you there.
You guys, I'll be there. Getting my wellness on. Hopefully no Pilates, because I don't know how to do that yet. We'll do it.
Thank you so much
Appreciate
for having me.